Hello and welcome. In this video, we will discuss some analytics surrounding mortgage-backed securities. Specifically, we will discuss servicing fees, monthly and annualized prepayment rates, prepayment rate benchmarks such as PSA, and weighted average coupon and maturity. Every mortgage loan must be serviced. The servicing of a mortgage loan involves the following activities: collection of monthly payments, sending payment notices to mortgagors, reminding mortgages when payments are overdue, maintaining records of principal balances, initiating foreclosure proceedings when there is a default, and furnishing tax information. Now, the servicing fee is a portion of the mortgage rate. It's added to the mortgage rate. If the mortgage rate is, for example, 8% and the servicing fee is 50 basis points, then the investor receives an interest of 7.5%. The interest rate that the investor receives is called net interest or net coupon. The servicing fee is commonly called the servicing spread. There are key concepts related to fixed rate, level payment, fully amortized mortgages, which represent 90% of the mortgage market in the US and many countries. So one of them is called pull factor. Pull factor is just a percentage of the initial mortgage balance that's still outstanding. In other words, how much it's the amount that's left after you subtract the amount that has been repaid from the initial balance. USD price paid for the principal, or the currency price paid for the principal. You need to calculate this amount by using the pull factor in order to calculate the balance. Weighted average coupon, or WACC. So weighted average coupon rate is found by just weighting the rate of each mortgage loan in the pool. The same thing applies to weighted average maturity, which is weighted average of all of these different periods for each loan that's aggregated together. So SMM, or single monthly mortality rate, is a prepayment rate that's at monthly, and when you actually annualize it, it's called CPR, or conditional prepayment rate. Now, there's a formula that allows you to go back and forth between CPR and SMM, which I'll illustrate using a spreadsheet in the next video. There's also a PSA prepayment benchmark in the US. Basically, it's a benchmark table that shows different labels for different speeds of prepayment. It's called Public Securities Association Benchmark, PSA, in the US, and there are equivalents in other countries. Average life of mortgage pass-through. It's a convention-based average time to receipt of principal payments. So how long it takes for you to receive the principal amount of the mortgage. Contraction risk. Contraction risk occurs if interest rates drop. The price of mortgage pass-through security will not rise as much as an equivalent option-free bond, because a fall in interest rates will give the borrower an incentive to prepay the loan and refinance the debt at a lower rate. Extension risk is the opposite. If interest rates go up, the price of mortgage pass-through security will decline, but it will decline more than the price of a vanilla bond, because the high interest rate will tend to slow down the prepayment rate, in effect increasing the amount that's stuck with the borrower. So you're actually able to receive less and reinvest less at a higher rate, so that basically reduces your overall return. So it's called extension risk. When the rates go up, the borrowers tend to pay slower. When the rates go down, borrowers tend to pay faster. So let me illustrate how weighted average coupon is calculated. So let's say you've got a group of 5 loans, and the outstanding mortgage balances are provided in the second column, and you've got the percentage contribution of each loan to the total. So for example, the first one is $125,000, and it contributes 22% to the total. The total here is $565,000. The mortgage rate corresponding to each mortgage is provided in the fourth column. So for example, for this $125,000 mortgage balance, corresponding mortgage rate is 7.5%. The month remaining is 275 months for the same mortgage, loan number 1. So how do we calculate weighted average coupon? It's very simple. So you just multiply mortgage rate by the weight in the pool, and then you aggregate all of them, and you receive the total amount. For example, the first loan has a weight of 22%, right? So 22% times the mortgage rate, which is 7.5%. Second mortgage amount was 85,000. Corresponding rate was 15%. Multiply it by the corresponding rate, mortgage rate, and you actually have the amount that you need to aggregate. So you need to add up all of these amounts, and in the end you'll have the weighted average coupon, which is 7% for this loan group. Similar methodology applies to calculating weighted average maturity. So for the same group of loans, what we do is we weight them using these weights, but we multiply not by the mortgage rate, of course, but month remaining. So here 0.22 or 22% times 275 times 15% rate of weight of the second loan multiplied by the month remaining, which is 260, and so on. In the end, rounds up to 279 months. So that's the average life or weighted average maturity of this loan group. So there are other mortgage pool prepayment conventions here called PSA in the US. So for example, if you got a PSA 100, it corresponds to the following prepayment rate, annualized prepayment rate. So which is actually denoted as CPR, conditional prepayment rate. If T is less than 30, in other words, the number of months is less than 30, the conditional prepayment rate, which is annualized rate of prepayment, is actually calculated by this. You take the number of months, divide by 30, and multiply by 6%. Now, where does this 6% come from? Well, it's based on the annual mortgage prepayment behavior in the US home market, in the US home mortgage market for over a very large period of time. So this is calculated based on statistics. If T is bigger than 30, then you just take 6%. In other words, the behavior of this loan prepayment in the US market is that there is a limit of 6%. No one prepays more than 6%. So if we're using faster prepayment, which is PSA 170, then we can scale this up. You know, if something is, let's say if you have another market like outside of the US or wherever, where the borrowers tend to prepay faster, then you can just scale this up to higher amount. So PSA 170 just means take PSA 100, multiply by 1.7. So 1.7 times 6% will be the limit, the new limit. Now you can actually go from the CPR to monthly prepayment rate using this formula. You can actually practice this in Excel. Prepayment amount in USD will be then calculated using this formula. Beginning balance minus the scheduled prepayment. And then you multiply it by the monthly rate of prepayment. In the next video, I'll show some examples using spreadsheet.